The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this or any broadcast belong solely to our guests or our hosts. These broadcasts do not represent or reflect the views of their employers, sponsors, or affiliated organizations.
Welcome to the Flipboard EDU podcast with your host, William Jeffrey, where we collaborate, communicate, and educate with the greatest educators in the world on Flipboard. Let's start the show.
Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey. And students can now enjoy fun and exciting ways of learning thanks to Sherry, Gunther, Shugerman. Educators are always looking for ways to immerse students into curricular content while keeping everyone entertained at the same time. Sherry has just released a new educational platform that aims to make learning fun. The Kazoobadoo app is an immersive, fantastical world where kids can play and learn simultaneously. Kazoobadoo not only excites students, but also gives them the opportunity to learn as they play. Engaging students is not only a passion for Sherry, but she also is an adjunct professor teaching a graduate level business class in media and entrepreneurship at USC. Sherry has a BS from UCLA and an MBA from USC. Educators who are facing round 2 of the COVID-19 era are looking for new ways to incorporate creativity and collective efficacy into their teaching practices for students. As many educators reflect on what worked last year and their approach for this year, a welcome reflection on creativity during this time of adjustment has surfaced. Many educators are thinking about what they want to be more creative with technology, as well as thinking outside the box with students' assignments on a regular basis. So like we always do at this time, let's collaborate, communicate, and educate with the best educators in the world right here on Flipboard EDU Podcast. Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey, and I have another amazing guest here today. I have Mrs. Sherry Gunther Shugerman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Hey, tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself.
I have spent most of my career creating content in animation, television, kids. I produced shows like The Simpsons, Family Guy, Rugrats. I was part of the team that helped launch the Cartoon Network as an executive producer on and head of production for Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, and more. And I've also had a career as a serial entrepreneur, building all kinds of gaming, virtual worlds, and toy products for kids. So digital tech, content, etc. And currently I am producing a series for Netflix, and as well as I have launched a new venture that is in the educational space that is bringing engagement to learning. So we are a platform for kids that really hopes to help kids fall in love with learning and get more engaged and better retention.
Excellent. So you mentioned some of my favorite cartoons that I used to watch as an adult, actually, Dexter's Laboratory and Johnny Bravo and all those other Powerpuff Girls.
Those were all great shows.
They really were. But I want to talk about Kazoobadoo. And
you did. That's excellent.
Because I've been practicing. So Kazoobadoo is an educational app. Why did you decide an educational?
Always wanted to do something for education. I watched my kids go through the public school system for the good and the bad of it. And while they're now thriving adults in their early 20s, they're amazing, they struggled with education. And I always wanted to bring something from my world of engaging and entertaining kids to the learning space. And honestly, with a pandemic bringing the issues to life of lack of engagement, obviously distance learning brought it to the forefront of everyone's concern and opened up some opportunities for people to be more open to solutions. And also technology continues to evolve. And as technology has evolved, it now is possible to do so much more than For instance, when I've thought about it in the past, it was like, why can't I bring history to life with these amazing videos and storytelling? And storytelling was always at the forefront of it, but it was going to be about passive videos. And nowadays, we can go so much deeper. We can do so much more. And more kids are not learning the way that we're teaching them. Kids are consuming information in a very different way. And this was an opportunity for me to think around a solution. Another factor of this is that I grew up living on various continents, moving from, seeing cultures, people, stories, and experiencing life and learning languages immersively, seeing ruins that brought history to life for me. And all of those things shaped me into a storyteller myself and shaped me into obviously the entertainer that I am for that reason. And I think that the opportunity to bring that to learning was really exciting for me. And so that's what the impetus of Kazoobadoo.
Excellent. So Kazoobadoo is an immersive app where students will be able to explore certain activities that the teacher will have for them. The question is, what activities do they have in there now that students would use? So
Kazoobadoo is not launched to the public yet. We are currently working on our first game, which is a civil rights movement game. So it's a perfect opportunity to demonstrate as I tell you about it. The world of Kazoobadoo is a fantastical, immersive virtual world, a sim world, which is a fantastical garden. And kids walk around and take paths into different lands, and each subject is a subject land. And so when they go into the history forest, they're able to click on a cherry blossom, and then they embark on a 1963 bus, and their avatar ends up in the middle of the March on Washington in 1963. On August 28th, 1963, to be specific. They're able to join the march. So they speak to people of the time with stories to tell. They're able to collect artifacts that create secondary sources for them to evaluate and read and understand. They're able to witness events of the times, famous speeches, etc. They get to pick up a sign, so they learn what each of the signs represents, what people are fighting for, and decide what they want to put themselves behind by picking up the sign and joining the march. By hearing people's stories, they start to understand the context of what brought the march to life, what are the events that prompted it, and the cause and effect part of it. So they learn about Claudette Colvin, they learn about Montgomery bus boycott, Rosa Parks, Brown versus the Board of Education, et cetera, and they really get to be there. They get to witness it. They get to experience. They get to talk to people. They get to hear stories. They get to witness events. And all of those things make it experiential and make it story-based learning. And it's a fact that we retain information so much better when we're told a story, or when we meet someone and have a conversation with them, rather than being taught through a book or a lecture where we tune out and it's not relevant to us. It is our mission to bring that life to every subject, for that matter, and to create a context and an application for the child to experience what they're learning about.
And the first game is the civil rights game. And eventually you guys will build out an entire curriculum where there'll be
Exactly. So our focus will start with 3rd through 5th grade and across all subjects: science, math, language arts, foreign languages, as well as social studies, history. And then we will expand out to art and music and other things as well. And we will also then start incorporating some of the earlier grades, but we want to go deeper into content for 3rd through 5th grade. But ultimately, this will be a K through 5 platform.
What curriculum are you guys basing your application on?
So our intention is our platform actually invites teachers to submit lesson plans, because we want to make teachers our partners. So we want teachers to bring their wealth of knowledge and insight into what we do, and then we bring the content to life. And it starts with a submission from a teacher based on curriculum. So it'll be across all states. Some of it will be federal, some of it will be state specific, but we will find interesting subjects that the teachers submit. We'll create a game or lesson quest around it. We will bring it to life, and then the teacher will get to monetize every time that game is downloaded.
Oh, wow. So the curriculum will almost be like a Netflix-based games where you would pick I hate to use Netflix, but I'm thinking of like how you would watch a TV show, but you would just pick a game that is curricular based. One of the things in the pandemic taught us that we can't just give kids games and work on. So what kind of data would the teacher be able to use as far as learning goes?
Great questions. We're different than the games that are out today because we're not just a casual game. We're a true platform that incorporates all of the learning into a whole system. So not only do we provide content for teachers to use in the classroom to bring learning to life and to engage kids better, but we also provide the teachers or the parents at home, for that matter, with data and tell them not only how well the child did in answering the questions, in understanding the information, but also how quickly did they do it? How many times do they have to go back and reread or rehear the information? Were they more responsive to listening versus reading? Were they more visual? Were they more auditory? The speed at which they went through the game and figured out, because it's almost like an escape room type of lesson quest. And so to the analytical part of it as well. And so there will be all kinds of data that the teacher can then use to really gear the games to the child. And eventually our system also learns this child needs the ability to repeat things more. This child gets bored quickly, give them more challenging stuff. And so it'll actually be a smart learning system where we're going to be able to not only give teachers the tools to understand the learner better, but we'll also be able to gear the game towards them. And so what will happen is when the child lands in the main area of the garden, Octodoo, which is our resident guide, it's an octopus, will pop out of the water and greet them. And based on whatever the teacher has input for them or their parent has input for them, if it's a home account, Octodoo will actually suggest games that are at their grade level, at their level of learning, and in the subject that the parent or the teacher wants them to focus.
That's amazing. My brain just went on fire because there is a great need for students to be remediated right now. What plan is in place for remediation of students? Or can it be used as a tier one? I'm going to just start with this, or can it be used as a remediation?
Clarify for me, remediation, you mean as far as leveling, correct?
Yeah, I've been introduced to the lesson, I've been taught, and then I didn't do well with the first instruction with my teacher, whole group. And so now I need more.
Yep.
And so I want to address my more help. So could this program be used to address those needs?
Absolutely. So the beauty of using this resource in the classroom is that the child then has the opportunity to go through the game at their own pace. And as they go through, let's say they can't get through the next hurdle, they don't understand it. Octodoo, the guide, will come in, much like a guide in an escape room, and say, hey, you might want to look at blah, 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 or maybe you should ask the MIA mom about the Montgomery bus boycott. And so he goes back and clicks on the mom and rehears the conversation. So sometimes it takes us twice or three times to hear the same thing to really understand it. But the game makes sure that you do understand it, but it's all done in a gamified way to where you're not made to feel like, oh, why can't I get this? There's no frustration. There's more, okay, I need to do this to get to that. If this didn't work, well, then I need to do this to get to that. And so that's the pace of the game. And the faster learners are going to have all kinds of bonus artifacts that they can collect and dig deeper into the subject. The slower learners are going to be guided towards rehearing or re-witnessing the information that they need to experience in order to better retain. And that's where the leveling adjusts to the child's learning.
And this will be in every curricular activity that's in.
Correct.
Wow, that is amazing. That is a very helpful tool. We need it today.
Yes, I know. Fast and furious as we can.
Oh, yes, we need that today. Now, will this be a computer device, or would it be something that you can get on an iPad or a tablet?
And again, great question. It's going to be playable on any device, whether it's a laptop or a computer or an iPad or an iPhone or even an Android, whatever the child has. Our goal is to make this accessible accessible. And in fact, one of our missions is to address the growing educational gap by helping make this accessible in underserved communities, giving away free hardware and software out of our profits. And the kids will actually get that are playing will actually get to vote on which charities how we allocate for charities. So they will earn coin in world currency called Kazoobits in every game that they play. And they will use that currency for customization. So they can buy a dance move, they can buy emotions, they can buy outfits, they can buy a silly hat or sunglasses or things like that. But they will also be able to use those Kazoobits to help the community. So this is all about social activism and allowing kids to have a voice. So we will have meters for each of our charities that we're associated with or that we start. And the kids will donate their Kazoobits, and those Kazoobits will serve as votes for us to see like what percentage of the profits will be allocated to any given charity.
Wow, that's amazing. Seems like y'all thought of everything on that one. Wow.
It's been a busy few months for sure. Yeah.
And how long have you guys
started thinking around this and thinking around what should be my approach? What should be the solution? How can we scale this? How does the flow of it work, et cetera, as early as I think it was July or August of 2020. So again, like a few months into the pandemic, I was actually asked to lead a entrepreneur boot camp for GSV Ventures, which is a global Silicon Valley ventures, and they focus in the future of learning. And a light bulb went on for me. That's what I need to be focused on right now. And so it was, again, timing in life. And I went from thinking to strategizing to building sort of the business plan on it, and started to get some really amazing people involved and building the first game and the website. And that's where we are now.
And you mentioned some of the people that you have involved. How many educators are involved with the building of the game so far?
So we have our resident advisory board teacher who is a fourth and fifth grade educator, super innovative thinker. He transforms his classroom into restaurants and things like that. And so there was an immediate spark and match in that everything he does in the classroom to bring things to life, this was going to take even a step further. And he loved this idea. And he actually was our model for how a teacher would submit a lesson and then be involved in helping us build the game and benefit from that. So Kyle has been with us since pretty much almost the beginning. And so he's one. We have 3 e-learning design specialists who also do other things. One of them is also an award-winning game designer behind some of the biggest games in history. And she actually wrote the game design document for this. And the third one is actually a design specialist who works for all of the educational publishers, creating content for them. And so we also have Dr. Sharoni Little, who's a she was a professor at USC for, I think over 20 years. She was also the head of diversity and inclusion for equity and inclusion for USC Marshall School of Business. And she's now heading up CAA's equity and inclusion strategy. And she is a Golden Apple Award-winning teacher, educator, and researcher in education. And so she's another amazing resource on that front. So all of us, I teach, I think there's a lot of at USC, all of us have some kind of education in our background. Some of my team members are really teachers at heart and e-learning design specialists and things like that.
I appreciate the fact that the game looks at the socio-emotional growth of children along with the curriculums, especially with the Kazoobits, the money that the kids give and donate for where you guys, and the fact that it is real charities that you guys are going to be donating to, that's going to be great for those kids. So as they learn, it would encourage them. So it's not just about getting an A or a B. Now I'm collecting and I'm helping the community. I think that's very
Exactly. We want them to first and foremost take part in the amazing learning community of Kazoobadoo, and through that learn that they can have influence and they can make a difference and they can get involved with their real life communities as well.
Excellent. Now I want want to go back to talk about the teachers submitting lessons. And you said that if the person would submit the lesson, they would get paid. So let's talk a little bit more about that. That sparked some interest.
Yeah, great. So we have on our website portal for a teacher the ability to submit a lesson plan or a unit plan, which is multiple lessons. And they fill out the form. They talk about what curriculum it answers, what the learning objectives are. It's really just like planning a lesson and put the idea behind it of how do they see this coming to life? What's the lesson? Because obviously we can look up a curriculum, but it's like, what are you bringing to? How would you like to see this evolve? And then we select the best lessons and the best ideas, and we then contact the teacher and work with them to build a lesson quest. And once the game is up, as the games get downloaded, teachers are paid per percentage per download or whatever. Teachers also will have the opportunity to upload other resources like discussion guides, quizzes, tests, activity guides, anything that really goes, workbooks, anything that goes along with the lessons that we have up. So with the civil rights movement, anything that they can add to what's there so that other teachers can benefit from, much like teachers pay teachers, there'll be the opportunity to upload and download resources from other teachers and best in class resources.
Excellent. With the gamified curriculum. And then they will also get detailed analytics to use within their classroom. So my next question is, are you guys SIPA and COPA compliant?
Yes. So we are definitely COPA compliant. We have hired an agency that I've worked with in the past when I did a virtual world for kids. They're named KidSafe, and they are reviewing all of our registration processes and all of the data collection and all of that, and making sure that we're absolutely COPA compliant.
Excellent. You guys sound like you guys are going to be a hit when y'all get started. Because Kazoobadoo is a name that the kids will definitely want to say.
That was the idea. I wanted to come up with a silly, nonsensical word that would be fun for kids to say. So repetitive vowels and fun letters and just a jumbled up fun word to say.
Where did that word come from? How did you come up with that?
Made it up. I just played around with syllables and repeats, and just that one just came up.
Gotcha. And when you were planning out this app, was it something that you intrinsically just said, this is the way I'm going to go through elementary? Are you looking to expand in the middle school and high school spaces?
That's such a good question. So when we first started, I thought that I was going to do K through 8. And as I started to plan out games and even artwork development, etc., I quickly realized that is way too broad of an age group to try to create one path for. In other words, the look of the avatars, the look of the world looks different if you're designing it for a 5 to 11-year-old versus a preteen or a teenager. There's just different art direction that I would choose for either age, and really went back to the roots and the basics of the way we think of entertainment for kids. Is it preschool? Is it 6 to 8? Is it 9 to 12? With that in mind, I thought if I were to build something for middle schoolers and high schoolers, I would approach it a little differently, because it just they respond to different things and they think differently. And with that, I thought we can't be everything to everyone. So K through 5 is plenty to focus on to begin with. And there's so many 6 grades in that, but there are multiple subjects and many other types of subjects we can get to. We can get into mindfulness. We can get into physical activity. We can get into art and music and all kinds of other than just core lessons, and it gives us so much to work with. Now, that said, ultimately, I truly feel that creating an immersive, engaging platform for learning can be applied to anything ultimately with the right design, whether it's middle school and high school, whether it's higher education, whether it's workplace learning, HR, any of those things, and putting people inside the situations, letting them meet people and talk to people. Those are opportunities that we have with the more immersive type of entertainment that's come out that can be applied to just about every area now. But we're going to start with the focus of K through 5 and establish it and make it rock, and then then we can expand from there.
That's excellent. I have full faith in you because, again, some of my favorite cartoons you're a part of. So definitely appreciate you for that.
Well, thank you very much.
How can our listening audience follow you on social media? Follow your Kazoobadoo?
So we have a presence in every social media outlet. So please check us out it's all just Kazoobadoo. So it's at Kazoobadoo or #Kazoobadoo, et cetera. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We have a YouTube channel with some sizzle reels on there. And of course, our website, please go on and register, and we will make sure to keep you updated. Our early adopters will definitely get great benefits. We have a whole teacher ambassador program where we encourage teachers to join us as ambassadors. And all that means is that we're going to disseminate a lot of great information and freebies at you. We're going to let you test things first. We're going to let you be in the know, et cetera. And all we ask in return is that you spread the word to other teachers and your school administrators, et cetera, and help us get adoption into classrooms.
Yeah, I actually think that it's going to spread like wildfire. The very fact that you can address the social, emotional aspect with students in those grades in the K through 5th grade space, and then get the analytics for their parents, and it's safe. I think you're sitting on a gold mine. This is I give it my blessing. Definitely be on my radar. Those 3 things be checked.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for coming on the show. That's our time. If there's anything that I can do to help you guys out when it's launched, you're welcome to come back on. And I will also be sharing the sizzle reels and the information that you sent to me in the Flipboard Educators blog. So everybody be looking for that because it will be there in the blog.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for your support. Really appreciate you having me on the show.
Subscribe to our Flipboard EDU podcast magazine.
Flipboard fam, it is now time for Flip Tips. How do I share an article on the web from Flipboard? You can share all the great stories you find on Flipboard.com in several ways. You can share to your friends you follow on Flipboard or share via email. And you can even share to Facebook or Twitter. You can even copy the Flip It link to paste it elsewhere. To share stories to others from Flipboard.com, you would need to tap on the share envelope on the article. On the next screen, share the story via email or another friend on Flipboard, as well as Facebook and Twitter. In addition to sharing individual stories, you can share a whole magazine you have added or are curating on Flipboard too. To share a magazine with others from Flipboard.com, you need to go to your profile page, tap on the magazine tab, then click the share icon while viewing the magazine cover from the inside of the magazine itself. Choose the option that you wish to share to, and voila, you have shared like a pro on Flipboard. Till next time, family. Flipboard fam, thanks for listening with me on this episode. I want to thank Sherry Gunther Shugerman for talking with us about Kazoobadoo. I just love saying that word, Kazoobadoo. I want to give a huge shout out to Aileen Laylor and the homie Mia Claradrilo. Welcome back. Shout out to everyone at Flipboard, especially if you did the edits on the blog. Also, shout out to everyone who's on vacation listening in. Hey, get some sunshine and get some rest. Be ready for next year. Remember to subscribe to our Flipboard EDU podcast magazine on Flipboard.com. Follow our podcast on all major platforms and share our podcast with an educator or colleague. Our podcast is available everywhere you listen to podcasts for free. Until next time, family.